So let me ask you, are you allowing your business ideas to sit on a dusty bookshelf and collect dust? Or are you willing to take them off the bookshelf, put them in the marketplace, and actually collect some money? Let's go ahead and get into this car chit chat today. Hey, what's up, y'all? So my name is Dr. TK, and in today's car chit chat, I just wanted to drop some motivation on you. I'm on my way to the nonprofit where I collaborate. Today, I'm going out there to actually be interviewed for a podcast for the Reentry Podcast Network. I'll make sure to link their podcast channel below. I've done an interview before with the host, but this time I'm actually going to do an interview with one of the community members. They have their own podcast show on there, and we're going to chit chat. So I'll make sure to drop those links when they publish. But let's go ahead and get into this topic. And so this topic was sparked by me sending my team members a message because we are undergoing some shifts in our product suite, especially as we prepare for 2025. And I wanted to give them some perspective in terms of even terminology that I use with my clients that may go, over someone's head if they're not used to certain things, right? So, I'm a psychologist. When I went to school, we had to complete a dissertation to graduate. So a dissertation is technically a book. We can choose if it is what's called qualitative or quantitative. To break that down into English terms, do you want to review all the literature and then come up with your conclusion of maybe what is a missing gap that the research has missed as it pertains to a particular topic, and then maybe what do you think could be done? And the goal of a dissertation is for you to make a contribution to the field of your expertise. For me, it was psychology. So the other type of research is quantitative. So one is an L, one is a T, qualitative versus quantitative. So quantitative is you go and you collect data. You can do that through interviews, surveys. You do have to get all of this approved before you go and talk to human beings. But bottom line is you go out there and you get the hardcore evidence that will either support or not support your theory, because you do have to come up with a theory, and then you do a debrief. So it's really interesting because right now I coach mental health providers, service providers, and healers on private practice, but also a big chunk of my time on YouTube is related to digital products. And, a lot of service providers will say, I don't know how to launch, but the crazy part is they do know how to do launch phases because it was the same way that you did any type of research paper, if you think about it. So when you do the 4 launch phases, you have the notification phase where you tell people something is coming, and then you start going into phase 2 where you start getting people riled up, you get them on a wait list, you tell them the date, you do pre-sales for your book, for your event, for your course, whatever. And then phase 3 is you're getting people enrolled in your program, you're doing the webinar, you're doing open enrollment, open cart, and then you do the debriefing. So the way that it crosses over to the dissertation process, if you have done that process or any type of research paper, is you first have to decide on your topic and your targeted audience. Then you go and you get, your topic approved and you make sure that it's good. So we're past the notification phase. Now we're actually fine tuning what do we want to do in our launch, our dissertation. And then you go and you collect the data. You go and you interview people for your coaching program. You go and you do a webinar, and even if people say no, you still have data that will tell you maybe what people's objections are, right? And then stage 4 is debriefing. Well, what does that mean? At the end, you have to write out what were the results compared to what you thought was going to happen, right? And then you want to look at, are there areas of needed improvement? Now, isn't that a dissertation? Isn't that a launch? So I don't want no other therapist to tell me they don't know how to do the launch. Even if you didn't do no dissertation, you did a research project, you had stats. I don't care what school you went to, you had stats 1, 2 through probably 8, okay? Depending on what kind of, track you were on. So, okay, let's bypass that and let me go to why I'm presenting this topic today as motivation. So I decided to talk to my team, not in detail about that, but explain to them what a dissertation was. And then I said, the way that I move in business has a lot to do with something that one of my mentors, also known as my dissertation chair, shared with me during my program. So I chose to do a topic on Black parental involvement in children's therapy because that was a struggle I was having as an intern, getting Black parents involved in the mental health processes. I chose quantitative, and I went out and I interviewed not kids, not parents, because that would involve a whole level of ethics and paperwork. I just decided to interview supervisors that supervised clinicians of any ethnicity that had caseloads of children that were Black, because I wanted to know, what did the supervisors see as a trend or pattern of what was happening with why parents are not involved. And the results were pretty fascinating, to the point where I ended up turning into a stream of income. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. So let me slow things down. When I decided on my topic, I chose two professors, one to be my dissertation chair. Your chair is the person who basically is like the professor who doesn't give you the syllabus because it's your syllabus, but they check your syllabus to make sure that you're on the right track as you are developing your project, your dissertation. And then you also have a reader. Your reader is like a TA. So their job is to double check what you gave to the professor, but specifically, they want to make sure that your book flows in the way that it should read, because the way that we talk, the way that we present, is not the way that something is written most of the time. Like, if you can go watch a movie and it's an extended version or an abbreviated version, heck, of what you read in a book, and you like, this didn't happen here, but they had to make it make sense for the movie, right? So what I did is I chose those two professors because they had a very thorough background in African American studies. They were the only two African American professors at that time when it was time for me to choose a chair and a reader. And the reader, I did it so strategically. The reader was the statistics professor. So I knew that one of his projects in our second stats class, after like the education in stats 1 in my doctoral program, because I've taken stats at pretty much every level, undergrad, master's, and doctoral. So I knew that his second semester of stats, he would make us write only a 10-page paper, but he said, if you're smart, you're going to choose the topic on what I need to approve, because he was in charge of the IRB, if you know what that means. Basically, it's the approval of your dissertation topic, so you can go out there and interview people, etc. And he said, if you're smart, you're going to choose a topic that I'm actually going to grade you on. And technically, if you get an A, all you have to do is fill out the paperwork for me to pass you on the IRB, because you've done the work. I've structured the paper to match the IRB process. And those of us who graduated on time, who did our dissertation on time, definitely followed that process. So I chose him for that reason, and he was Black, but also because of his background. My chair, I chose her because she was the director of multiple group homes over, children of color, primarily Black and brown. She was a mom, she's a psychologist, and she was well versed in specifically cultural diversity and cultural competency. So I hope you can also see the trend of when you surround yourself, even around people in grad school, with mentorship, you end up picking up some things kind of like your coach, right? And so fast forward, I did my dissertation topic. Now, what my chair had what my reader, the stats professor, encouraged me to do also for motivation is he said, Takesha, you bet not, he talked like super regular. He was like, you bet not let this research project, your dissertation, collect dust after you have, pretty much took my sweat, blood, and tears and put it into that book, y'all, because it was like a 2.5-year process to write that book. It was a lot of data, a lot of research. I'm talking about like 50 pages of having to summarize over 150 articles. And the articles ain't no one page. They like 10, 15, 30, 50, 100 pages, right? So you really have to figure out a creative way to summarize all that to support the direction of your dissertation. I'll just keep it at that. So when he told me that, don't let my dissertation collect dust. I've made a contribution to the field. You need to use it. I took that to heart. So how does that relate to how I show up now? And how does that relate to potentially what you may be doing to sabotage your success? I decided, it just kind of came organically though. I decided to take my dissertation topic and I started creating speaking engagements for myself. Coaching nugget number 1. So one of my practicum sites, once I was done there, they had called me back and said, hey, we had a speaker that is unable to come. I know that you did your dissertation topic on something with children, because I interviewed some of the supervisors there. Is it applicable to our students for training week before they start in these high schools, predominantly in Black and brown high schools? And I said, yes. And then they said, how much do you charge? And I'm like, I don't know, because that's another thing that my clients ask me. So I went to someone that had helped me and my friend kind of like just brand ourselves as experts, even though we weren't licensed yet, and teaching us how to like market ourselves, because that's what she had done to get like multiple grants and stuff. All the stuff went over our head back then. But, she had said, why don't you just ask them how much they were about to pay the other speaker? I said, okay. So, I emailed them and they said $150. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Because I'm thinking like, oh, that'll be a private pay client one day when I get licensed. This is back all the way, y'all, in like 2009, right? So 2009, 2010. And so I said, okay, $150. And I said, how long? And they were like, oh, for 2 hours. So you're going to get paid $300 to speak. And the reason why that was such a big deal is because I was taking what I had done to technically sit in a book, and then I was able to turn it into a presentation that then helped these therapists pay it forward for me, because I'm all about cultural diversity and cultural competency. It helped me pay it forward for these clinicians. Doesn't matter their ethnicity. I really want children of color to have appropriate mental health care, right? So I took that and I hit the ground running. I went to my practicum on the internet back then. I went to the campus like every day I was there to do like some other stuff or whatever, because I was teaching. And I got access to the internet and I just looked up all the practicum sites and I got permission to do it. And I found out who was the training director, coaching nugget number 3. And I reached out to them. I made up a proposal. I didn't have ChatGPT back then, but now you got it, winning. And I pitched myself to about 5 to 10 training sites each week, just like people would pitch themselves to a brand. So also I was learning how to brand myself. I just realized that the other day, like, oh my God, I know how to pitch myself. I'm crazy. I'm thinking it's all hard and stuff. I know how to do this. So some sites would pay me nothing. Some sites would pay me $25, $50, whatever their budget will allow. I, in that moment, was not saying no unless I literally could not make it due to time conflict, because I was giving out feedback forms and I knew long term, if this is something I want to do, I didn't even know it was called social proof or testimonials, but I knew I needed feedback forms because as a professor, you always get feedback on what you present on, right? So how does that relate to business? Well, there are products in my Canva app. I want you to think about yourself. There are workbooks, there are PowerPoints, there are CE workshops that I've done, all related to business. And I was going extra hard in areas of teaching CE workshops for like 2 years, doing like no less than 12, like doing one a month for 2 years, right? From 2020 to like 2022. And then I started slowing down because I started catering more to the services for my coaching clients, right? So I realized literally last night that I have so many topics that can go into my own course shell for digital products. The question now is, am I going to continue to send people who are interested in digital products to other people's products because I do affiliate marketing? Or was I playing myself this whole time, but maybe I needed to build up confidence to get my book off the shelf, AKA out of your notebook, out of your computer, off Canva, off Word document or ChatGPT? Do you need to take your ideas and simply organize them and stop being scared, take messy action, and go ahead and record the modules for the course? Because the bottom line is, every course that I've launched that have actually been a course, not a membership, It's always been produced live first, and then I'll record it later. The biggest difference as to why I was compartmentalizing this situation with digital products is because I was doing a lot of memberships, mini workshops, live streams, podcasts, CE workshops, speaking engagements, and I didn't realize that I'm sitting on a gold mine with a framework staring right at me, but all I need is to organize it so that I can take somebody from the digital product journey beginning to end. So with that said, depending on when you're watching this, if you are interested in digital products, and especially if you don't have to be, but if you're a therapist, service provider, or healer, you definitely want to pay attention, because you know that I give bonuses in our course shells, particularly related to service providers keeping their license, meaning not putting yourself on the line, right? So it's just, it's tips of how to present yourself and how to market, so that people won't get confused in like what your role is, okay? So I am going to be hosting a boot camp, and the boot camp is going to talk about aligned marketing in the digital online space, but I'm going to slow down the pace because I know that doing stuff online, learning and conceptualizing what I talk about in those workshops is a lot, because it's new to a lot of people. Like, it's like learning a new language. So I want to slow down the conversation instead of doing it, at least for right now, in like a one-day webinar. So if you want to learn how to present yourself in the marketplace and generate ideas so that you can take those ideas and then with us create your digital product, launch phases, marketing campaigns, and things like that, all the way to the sales processes, putting into places like Stand Store, creating your onboard client processes. If you want me to teach you how to do that, make sure that you check out the description box, and depending on when you see this video, we may be already registering for absolutely free for the 3-day boot camp. But let's wrap this up. I want you to think about, what can you take from my dissertation chit chat? Are you allowing your money-making ideas to collect dust simply because you used it once and you forgot you had it? Maybe you wrote a book and maybe you were not interested in marketing the book. You really wanted a course, but you didn't know where to go. Okay? So my main focus with digital products is highly emphasized on what I would consider simple digital products. In that boot camp, I will talk about that if someone wants to create a coaching curriculum, they will probably need to upgrade in addition to our course shell, because it's self-paced. You may want to think about upgrading to also include one-on-one sessions with me, because when you build a course curriculum, I don't have a framework that is personalized to your particular topic. We can teach you about framework. We can teach you about the logistics of a digital product, like your course. But if you want personalized assistance, which all my clients who build courses, I tell them actually in these boot camps, hands down, is not going to be enough. There are courses out there that cost $10,000 that can help you do that. But I also am positioning what I have at a no-brainer, get your product out there and make this money back in a month situation. So if you want to learn the A to Z of what it takes to take your idea to the marketplace, and you want to go with us on a journey of helping you map out your journey and see results, then sign up for the 3-day Align Digital Marketing Bootcamp. Hear what I have to teach you. And if you want to move forward, you can. I'll give you instruction on how to do that. But I'm really excited. And I just want to close this out by saying, one, if you're new here, hello, my name is Dr. TK, clinical psychologist, therapist, business coach, and digital product mentor. Okay. And I also do these chit chats to impart like motivation, answer people's questions. And honestly, y'all, my abundant Wi-Fi BFFs. And I just love sometimes talking while I'm driving, because it's almost like having someone in the car with me, because clearly only my backpack is right here and my water. And so, I may not be looking at the camera, but I just want to be able to provide motivation, whether it be through YouTube or whether it also be for those who are listening on the audio podcast, because the girl got her new mic. So now the quality is a lot better and I can make sure that I upload it. So if you're new here, welcome. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel to get more goodies like this, including other workshops where I'm looking dead in the camera, right? Also, like this video if you thought that this was helpful for you to get out of your way and go out and make that money. If you are returning, hello, welcome back. I love you. And I will see all of y'all later in the next video. Bye.